When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. Patience is a virtue, and I'm learning patience. It's a tough lesson. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop, where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. It is important that people look forward to coming to work in the morning and enjoy working. I think you should always bear in mind that entropy is not on your side. Great companies are built on great products. I think there should be regulations on social media to the degree that it negatively affects the public good. We're running the most dangerous experiment in history right now, which is to see how much carbon dioxide the atmosphere can handle before there is an environmental catastrophe. Any product that needs a manual to work is broken. Really, the only thing that makes sense is to strive for greater collective enlightenment. Starting a business is not for everyone. Starting a business, I'd say, number one is have a high pain threshold. Brand is just a perception, and perception will match reality over time. Sometimes it will be ahead, other times it will be behind. But brand is simply a collective impression some have about a product. There have to be reasons that you get up in the morning and you want to live. Why do you want to live? What's the point? What inspires you? What do you love about the future? If the future does not include being out there among the stars and being a multi-planet species, I find that incredibly depressing. I don't create companies for the sake of creating companies, but to get things done. The value of beauty and inspiration is very much underrated, no question. But I want to be clear. I'm not trying to be anyone's savior. I'm just trying to think about the future and not be sad. In order to have your voice be heard in Washington, you have to make some little contribution. I think we have a duty to maintain the light of consciousness to make sure it continues into the future. The problem is that at a lot of big companies, process becomes a substitute for thinking. You're encouraged to behave like a little gear in a complex machine. Frankly, it allows you to keep people who aren't that smart, who aren't that creative. A company is a group organized to create a product or service, and it is only as good as its people and how excited they are about creating. I do want to recognize a ton of super talented people. I just happen to be the face of the companies. Self-driving cars are the natural extension of active safety and obviously something we should do. When I was a child, there's one thing I said. I never want to be alone. That's what I would say. I don't want to be alone. The path to the SO's office should not be through the CFO's office, and it should not be through the marketing department. It needs to be through engineering and design. You could warm Mars up, over time, with greenhouse gases. I think we are at the dawn of a new era in commercial space exploration. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop, where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. We are the first species capable of self-annihilation. The factory is the machine that builds the machine. Life is too short for long-term grudges. If something's important enough, you should try, even if the probable outcome is failure. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not. I would like to die on Mars, just not on impact. I think it matters whether someone has a good heart. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket. I always invest my own money in the companies that I create. I don't believe in the whole thing of just using other people's money. I don't think that's right. I'm not going to ask other people to invest in something if I'm not prepared to do so myself. Single best piece of advice: constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself. It's very important to like the people you work with. Otherwise, your job is going to be quite miserable. I will never be happy without having someone. Going to sleep alone kills me. Rockets are cool. There's no getting around that. I think life on Earth must be about more than just solving problems. It's got to be something inspiring, even if it is vicarious. I really do encourage other manufacturers to bring electric cars to market. It's a good thing. And they need to bring it to market and keep iterating and improving and make better and better electric cars. And that's what's going to result in humanity achieving a sustainable transport future. I wish it was growing faster than it is. If humanity doesn't land on Mars in my lifetime, I would be very disappointed. If you're entering anything where there's an existing marketplace against large, entrenched competitors, then your product or service needs to be much better than theirs. It can't be a little bit better, because then you put yourself in the shoes of the consumer. You're always going to buy the trusted brand unless there's a big difference. To make an embarrassing admission, I like video games. That's what got me into software engineering when I was a kid. I wanted to make money so I could buy a better computer to play better video games. Nothing like saving the world. If I'm not in love, if I'm not with a long-term companion, I cannot be happy. We can't have, like, willy-nilly proliferation of fake news. That's crazy. You can't have more types of fake news than real news. That's allowing public deception to go unchecked. That's crazy. When Henry Ford made cheap, reliable cars, people said, "Nah, what's wrong with a horse?" That was a huge bet he made, and it worked. I say something, and then it usually happens. Maybe not on schedule, but it usually happens. We're already cyborgs. Your phone and your computer are extensions of you, but the interface is through finger movements or speech, which are very slow. If we drive down the cost of transportation in space, we can do great things. There's a silly notion that failure is not an option at NASA. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. I do love email. Wherever possible, I'd write to communicate asynchronously. I'm really good at email. If you don't have sustainable energy, you have unsustainable energy. The fundamental value of a company like Tesla is the degree to which it accelerates the advent of sustainable energy faster than it would otherwise occur. The United States is definitely ahead in culture of innovation. If someone wants to accomplish great things, there is no better place than the US. The fundamental value of a company like Tesla is the degree to which it accelerates the advent of sustainable energy faster than it would otherwise occur. If you think back to the beginning of cell phones, laptops, or really any new technology, it's always expensive. Man has the power to act as his own destroyer, and that is the way he has acted through most of his history. I'd like to dial it back 5% or 10% and try to have a vacation that's not just email with a view. If you had to buy a new plane every time you flew somewhere, it would be incredibly expensive. I don't think it's a good idea to plan to sell a company. Which quote from Elon Musk did you find the most inspiring? Get involved and let us know in the comments down below. If you guys like this video, then be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Also, if you don't want to miss out on any new future videos, then be sure to click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification under this video so that you're notified the next time we upload a video on the best quotes from world-known famous personalities. Thank you for watching, and we will see you again in the next video. Goodbye.